Hello everyone, Coach Audric here.
Good morning everyone, Master Foresight. Coach Audric and myself are going to go over some jiu-jitsu training for you today. Coach Audric is nice enough to come in here today and help us out, continue to get better. We're going to start off with 5 solo drills that you guys can do at home. And the way that we're going to do this is we will demonstrate the drill, go over a few reps, and then plan on breaking down the practical application of each technique. And then we have a set of 5 grip breaks. Think of this as the entry point to a fight. So before it gets to the ground, once the punching and kicking cease to work and that person's trying to latch onto you, if you can win the grip fight, you're more likely going to come out on top and have a dominant position, which is going to allow you to win the altercation. All right, so with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Coach Audric. We're going to do some good training. Make sure you're listening, pay attention. This video will stay online, so don't worry about getting everything right the very first time. If you have to, go back and watch the video again and again so that you can practice the techniques.
Alright, so for the first drill, we're going to just practice shoulder rolls, okay? And we're going to practice pretty much each direction of shoulder roll on both shoulders, okay? So I'm going to start on my butt just to have an easy reference point, okay? So, starting on my butt, I'm going to roll to my back, okay? And, if you want to, you can also add the little break fall if you want, okay? Not really the most important part for me right now, but I'll lay on my back. I'm going to bring my feet over one side of my head, and I'm shoulder rolling, okay? I'm not rolling on my head because that's gonna crank on my neck. So make sure you are on your shoulder, okay? Now from here, I'm gonna keep my head low and my arms to the outside. I switch the direction of my head so that I can forward shoulder roll on the other side. Now I backward shoulder roll over the same shoulder I just rolled over. And then again, I switch directions. So now I just hit one shoulder roll forward on both my left and right shoulders, and I hit a backward shoulder roll on both my left and right shoulders, okay? So from a different angle, this is what it's gonna look like. Backwards over one shoulder, switching, head low. I'm keeping my arms to the outside. Forward over the other shoulder, backwards over the same shoulder, switch. Forward over the other shoulder, okay?
All right, so now we're going to demonstrate the practical application of these shoulder rolls.
Okay, so let's say for whatever reason, okay, I get my feet stacked over me. Okay, again, I have to be ready to move my head to the side and shoulder roll. If I let him stack my toes over my head, I'm gonna get my neck cranked. So I come over here, I backward shoulder roll, maybe he's still crowding me, so I'm gonna try to catch his leg. Ideally, I would be able to come up to a single leg, but maybe he's a little bit smarter, he's gonna start sprawling on me, he's gonna start circling away from my arm. If he circles towards my arm, then he's gonna give me his leg, right? So he's usually gonna wanna go over my head, and that's when I'm gonna catch him with my other arm. Now, once I have a good grip on his arm, look, I'm gonna turn my head the other way, start extending, and then I'll forward shoulder roll back to my guard. Okay, now he's gonna stack my feet the other direction, which I can't even remember which direction it was. I think this may have been the same side. So, stack my, right here, and then I'm trying to trap his leg and come up with a single leg. Okay, if he's smarter, he'll push my head down, he'll start sprawling and circling to the other side. I'm gonna block him. Now, I've trapped his leg. I'm gonna start coming for the forward shoulder roll, back to my guard.
Awesome job. All right, so next solo drill Coach Audric is gonna go over are egg beaters. Has a funny name. It looks funny when you're doing it, but it has a lot of good applications when you have a partner. So just like before, he's gonna demonstrate it first, then we're gonna partner together and show you how to use the egg beater.
Okay, so egg beaters, all right? All I'm going to do is I'm laying down in my open guard, okay, and I'm just swiveling my ankles, okay, and I'm gonna show you from a different angle, but I'm not going at the same time like this, okay, and that's actually gonna feel a little bit more awkward. Okay, you're gonna feel a lot more balance if you do this. And if you look closely, I'm not just turning my knees, but I'm also turning my hips. Okay, you can get a lot more range of motion if you can turn your hips with it. But that's a very difficult movement to learn on your own. So take your time doing it. If you're not quite getting it on your first few tries, that's fine. Just keep doing your best, because obviously your best is the best you can do. So right here, I'm just swiveling. So I'm circling to the outside, okay? But you can also circle to the inside as well, okay? So make sure you do both directions, because being able to do both directions is really important, okay?
You mind if I say something, Coach?
Yes.
Picture the egg beaters, whether you're going inside out or outside in, they're crescent kicks, but from the knee. It's an inside outside crescent kick. Both legs are outside inside crescent kicks. So you should already be familiar with this movement. It's just from a shorter standpoint. So instead of being all the way up on your feet and using your whole leg, it's just right here from the knee. Inside out, outside in. Looks like an inside outside crescent or outside inside crescent.
Okay, so now for the practical application of this movement. So we normally practice the closed guard like this, with the top person, their hips are low, their shoulders are up, because this is the way that they want to avoid, you know, my triangles, my arm bars. I'm gonna have to throw my legs over his shoulder at some point, and the farther his shoulders are, the harder it is for me, okay? At the same time, he's also in a good position to open my guard and start beginning his passing sequence, okay? But in terms of self-defense, this is not always gonna happen. Some people like to hug the head instead. So right here, he's hugging my head, and he's got an underhook, so I can't take his back right away. If you want to rotate this way real quick, okay? So notice, go ahead. So notice that he's on his knees right now. If he's on his knees, then I can just use my closed guard and use my legs to create distance. Now I can start working for my attacks. But a lot of times, when people are hugging your head, they're gonna start getting off their knees and driving off of their toes. This is gonna add extra pressure. Okay, so now, since he's using his whole body, I can't use my legs to extend him away. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm just gonna change my guard, okay? I'm gonna do my egg beater to the outside, and now I have double butterfly hooks. Now I can scoot him away. Now, if we stay here, I can start going for, you know, a whole bunch of moves. If he stays on his feet, okay, then I can start going for my X guard and foot locks from here. Okay, so that's the practical application. And then obviously, if he's starting to counter, you know, my pushing movement from my butterfly guard, then I'm just gonna go back to my closed guard. Okay, so it really just depends on the distance between your hips and their hips, your shoulders and their shoulders. Okay, so if he starts pressuring in, driving off, the butterfly guard is there. If he starts pushing back in with his legs, the closed guard is back. Okay, obviously if he's keeping his legs low and tight, there's no space for my legs to fit in. Okay, so use the tool accordingly.
Thank you. All right, hope you guys got all those details. If not, remember, you can go back and watch all of these techniques. Next one he's gonna do are sit-outs with step-overs. So sit-outs we've already been doing. He's adding an extra detail, which is a step-over, and he's gonna explain to you why he's going to do that, why it's more beneficial than to just do a sit-out and go back to your starting point.
Okay, so just a quick recap of the sit-out, okay? So, when I do my sit-out, I'm gonna step up on my leg, okay? My knee is up, okay? I'm gonna keep my elbow tucked in. I don't wanna get underhooked or overhooked really strong here. Okay, I'm staying right here, and then I'm gonna sit my foot through right here. Notice I'm not laying my hip on the ground. If I lay my hip on the ground, I could get rolled to my back really easily. So I'm actually right here with a lot of weight on my right hand and both of my feet. But now I need to start transferring the weight to my right foot and stepping over. Okay, how it looks on the other side, I can step up with my knee, elbow in on the same side, I step, now I step over. Okay, if you're new to this, you can definitely just practice going sit out, reset, sit out, but eventually you want to do the follow-up move, and in most situations it's going to be the step over. Okay, one instance is when I'm going in for a takedown. So I go in for my takedown. Common counter is he's gonna start sprawling on me. Okay, I'm right here, I'm posting. Okay, now look, my knee is already up. Why? Because I want to drive through and I want my leg to come through on the sit out. Obviously, if my knees are both down, then I'm kind of blocking my own weight. Sorry, blocking my own leg. So I'm right here, now I'm gonna sit out, and now my head is still driving into him. Okay, and also, the back one step, again, my elbow is tight so he can't underhook me, and I'm not laying on my hip because now he could roll me to my back. Go ahead and roll me to my back. Now I'm getting crucifixed. Okay, now I'm in side control. So make sure your elbow is in and he can't get to the inside. Head positioning. Okay, when I start sitting out, okay, I'm not laying on my hip. Now, look, I made him fall because I was driving in with a lot of good pressure the entire time. I'm gonna step over to collect the legs. Now I can climb the tree. From a different angle. Maybe I go in for my takedown. Maybe he sprawls. Okay. I'm going to keep this leg extended. Also on this leg, don't have it so extended you can't push anymore. And don't have your foot so close that your driving angle goes straight up. You need to find that sweet spot in the middle. So now I'm gonna sit out, keep my head in, shoulder in, my hips aren't gonna lay on the ground. Now I'm gonna step over. If I just did this, there's no more pressure into him. He's just gonna get back up. So I need to